Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this video, let us see how to automate the process of CI/CD pipelining. Basically, we use this code pipeline service in AWS to automate the process of continuous integration and continuous deployment. So for this, first we need two things. That is, we need to store our code somewhere. So actually, we store our code in code commit. Then we need to test whether that code is working or not correctly. So for that, we use code build. Then in order to deploy, we use code deploy. We use code deploy AWS service. And so if you do manually one by one by storing your code in code commit, and to test that code, you can use CodeBuild, right? Yes, you can manually do it. And you can even deploy that code, whatever the code tested, and it generates artifact files whenever you test your code by using CodeBuild. So by using that artifact files, you can even deploy the code. So you can do that manually step by step, or else you can automate the process. So how to automate the process, sir? You can automate by using code pipeline. By using this code pipeline service, you can automate that whole process. So for that, let's first let us do this from end to end. Let us do this project from end to end. So for that, first I want to put my code inside one repository of code build. So inside one repository of code commit. So actually we store our code inside this code commit. We are using this code commit as our storage for our code. So I'm just opening this code commit to store my actual application related data. Then here we have repositories. Actually, inside these repositories, we will create one repository and store our data. So for that, I'm creating one repository. So you can see we just redirected to this console. Now I'm providing the details like repo one, that is a repository one. In order to identify this as my application repository, I provided the name as repo one. So that's it. I'm just creating it. Now here I just provided the repository name as the repo one, and then I've created. I'm just click on created. You can see repository was successfully created, right? Yes. So our repository was successfully created. Now you can see connection steps are there. I'm just closing it. Now, since we just created this repository, currently it is empty. It does not having anything. So in order to push my code, or in order to put my code inside this repository, we have two options. That is directly from here, you can click on upload file. Then you choose that file from this option and upload from this option, that is commit the changes. Now I'm just canceling it to show you how to do it programmatically. In real time, we actually commit our code, or we actually commit whatever the files or application related data into this repository by using code. So let's say I want to commit it by using HTTPS request. So actually it is easy type. So if you want to connect, there are three options are there. That is HTTPS. So for that, you have the steps also given. Second one is SSH. So by using SSH, if you are using Windows, then the steps are given to you. If you are using a Linux, then for that also the steps are given. And here you can see if you want to connect by using this HTTPS, here also steps are given to you. So if you want to connect by using this HTTPS, you need to create credentials for it. So in order to authenticate and authorize to connect for this. So first, now what I want to do, I have just created my repository. Now in this repository, I want to push or I want to commit my code. So where actually my code is there, sir. Actually, I created my code in EC2 instances. In EC2 instances, I created my code. Now I want to connect it to my EC2 instance. I want to push my code to this particular repository. So for that, I have currently 3 EC2 instances. I've created two for hosting my application. That is, in order to deploy my application, I need servers, right? Yes. So those two servers are these two. Don't worry. While configuring, I'll show you where I'm using these two. And now, actually, currently my code is present in this dev instance. So I'm just clicking on that, and I'm expecting to connect to it in order to move my code to my repo. So I just click on connect option. Here I am connecting by using this EC2 instance connect. Now you can see connection is getting establishing a connection. Now after connecting to it, I want to connect to my repository. So where is my repository? Actually, it is present in code commit, right? Yes. So in code commit, we actually created our repository. I'm just opening it. Now I want to see the steps to connect to it. To connect to this repo one, I want to see the steps. I want to connect by using HTTPS. So for this, the prerequisites are we need to install Git, and then we need to create, we need to generate credentials for it. So to generate credentials for this, you have direct option here. Just click on it to generate credentials. It will redirect me to the documentation. Now I'll show you how to create credentials. Which type of credentials I want? I want a HTTP type GitHub credentials, right? I want HTTP type GitHub credentials. In order to connect it to this, I need HTTP type GitHub credentials I want. So for that, you just move on to IAM. I'm just opening this IAM. Now, currently, for the current user, whatever the user that I'm using, for that user, I'm expecting to provide the credentials. So I'm opening the users. So under this student is the user that I'm using. I'm just opening this. Now, under security credentials, you have an option that is SSA, that is HTTPS Git credentials. You can see that, right? Yes. So by using, you can generate this HTTPS Git credentials for code commit. So since I want to connect to code commit, I'm generating these credentials by clicking on generate. Now you can see my username as well as my password is generated. I want to use these two to connect to my repository. From where? From the EC2 instance, from my server. I want to connect to that. I want to connect to that repository, code commit repository. Now, before moving my app into my code commit, first I want to see, I want to list and see whether that app is present here or not. You can see that app option is here. So our app is there. Now I want to test this app. I want to test this app whether it is working correctly or not. To test this, I'm moving on to this app folder and I'm listing this. Now you can see the option. Now here I'm expecting to test this. So for that, I have a command that is npm test. So I'm just executing it. You can see success. So one success. There is no errors. That means it was tested successfully. That means it was our app is running correctly. So that's why it is tested perfectly. We did not get any errors. Now I want to run and check whether the output. I want to run and check the output of this app. So to find that, to run this, you have to write this command, that is a node environment is equals to development environment. I am specifying that, and debug AWS code services. And now to start this app, this is the command, actual command, NPM Start, where debug and node environment are the parameters that we are specifying. Now you can see this is the listening. This is a listening. This app is listening at this port. That is what? 3000. Now I'm just copying this IP address, public IP address, and I'm expecting, I want to connect to this by using that public IP address, by using HTTP request. I just pasted that and colon. So in which port it is listening? 3000, right? So I just return that. Now you can see our request got received here, the response got received here. So successfully our app got hosted here. Our app got hosted in this development server. So till now what we have done? We have created one repository in code commit, and then we have logged into our development server. That is what one EC2 instance. And in this development server, what we did, sir, we just opened our app, and then we tested our app by using this npm test command, and we started our app by using this command. By using npm start, we started our app. Here we specified two parameters, that is a debug and node environment. So that's it. We just run our app, and we taken the public IP address of it, and we pasted this here in another browser to see whether I'm getting the website or not. And we provided the port number as well. So you can see I got this website. Now I'm just stopping this. To stop this, I'm just clicking on Control C. So that means actually our code testing was done successfully in development environment. I have tested the code by using this, by running this command, that is a npm test, and we even checked the output. We even checked the output by using the public IP address. Now we actually stopped the app, right? Yes. Now I'm reloading this, whether do I get the response still or not. So actually, since I stopped this, I don't think I'll get the response again, because the app is stopped, right? So it won't respond back, and it will provide me the response in this website. So I think it may, yeah, you can see this site can't be reached. So why? Because is since we stopped this app running, so that's why we are not getting the response here, right? Yeah. So now we have checked our app is running successfully in development environment. So in real time, in any one of the server, that is by using development environment, you actually test your code. But for automation purpose, to do this test in AWS, you use code build. But to store actual code. So what are the code that I have? Where actually my code is present? Inside this app folder, right? These are all files related to my code, right? Yeah. So I want to move that to AWS service, right? Yes. So where we actually store is, we store actually in code, this repository. In this code commit repository, we actually store it. Now I want to clone this. I want to clone this repository there. So that's why I'm just copying this. Now I'm just opening that EC2 instance connect. and I'm just pasting that here. So before pasting that, yeah, let us paste that. Control Shift V I'm pressing, and I'm just clicking on enter. You can see the command fully pasted. You can see it was asking me what the username. So to connect to this HTTPS git commit, I want the username. So where I got it? So that you can get it from IAM credentials that you generated. In IAM, you generated these credentials, right? HTTP git credentials. Now I just copied the username. Now I'm pasting that here by Control Shift V command. I just clicked on enter. It was asking me the password. Again, I'm going back to IAM. I'm copied the password. Again, I'm pressing Control Shift V. Now, since here the password is not visible, but it was pasted. Now I'm just clicking on enter. You can see I'm getting warning. What is that? You appear to have cloned an empty repository. We just cloned the empty repository that was provided as a warning. That means we successfully cloned the repository. You can even list and check whether that repository do you get it or not. You can see that repo one we got it. Actually, I want to copy all the code present in my app folder. So that's why I'm moving this repo to I'm moving this repo one to one bit back folder. So I'm just moving back and I'm listing. You can see I got my repo into the back folder. That is I'm just showing the present working directory. So currently now we are in home_ec2. So now in this folder, our repo is present as well as our app is present. So our repository, that whatever we cloned, that is present, and our app is also present. Now I want to rename this repo. So for that, you can use mv command to rename this repo one. So whatever the name that you want, that you can put. I'm expecting to rename it to app1. You can see that was renamed by listing. You can see that app1 you got it. So you successfully renamed it. Now I want to move my data from this app folder to app1. I want to move all the data from app folder to app1. So to move your data from this app folder to this app1. So currently I'm listing whatever the data which is present in app1. You can see nothing is there. So that's why nothing is listed. Now I want to move my data which is present in app1 to this app to this app1 folder. So for that, you can use mv command -r, and from where you want to move from app folder. So whatever the files present in that current directory to app1, right? Yeah, I'm just clicking on enter. I think we did some mistake. It's not mv command, it's a copy command. Actually, we can copy from this app folder to this app1 folder. So now I'm just clicking on enter. You can see we did not get any error. That means our data is successfully copied. You can even list that data by using this ls command. So that's what we used previously to list the data. So since previously no data is present in app1, we did not get anything. Currently we copied our data from this app to this app1. So now I'm listing this. So I need to get some data. You can see whatever the files which previously present in app folder, those all copied into this app1. You can see those all files are visible here. You can see, yes, multiple files are there. So these all files are related to my app. So among these, I want to tell you two files. That is this app spec file and this BuildSpec YAML file. Actually, you use this BuildSpec YAML file in order to build your, that means to test your code, you use code build, right? Yes. So there actually you use this if you want to see the data which is present in this BuildSpec file, you can see that by using this cat command. I think, yeah, I need to move into this. So currently I'm in this directory. I want to move to this app1 to see that files which are present in this. Now I'm in this app1. I want to see buildspec.yaml file. Now you can see this is how our buildspec YAML file will be. So in this we specified the version. In phases we provided 3 phases: install phase, build, pre-build and build phase. And we store the artifact files in this location. And in, so what we are installing? We are installing NPM of this version, that is a 16. Then after installing this, we need to test write. So to test that, we are using the same command, that is npm test. So previously we have seen, right? So for testing, we used this npm test command. Then after, we are running this build command. So to generate the artifact files and store in this particular location. So this is a brief about this build spec file. If you want to see the app spec file and what are the data present in that app spec file, you can see this is how the data will be. In this also we specified the version and operating system, source, permissions, hooks. So these 3 details we specified. Okay. Now what we want to do, actually we want to move our data to repo 1, right? Yes, code commit repo 1, I want to move my data. In order to move your data, in order to push your data to your repository, you first need, you use a push command. So before that, you need to add the data. So let us see the status, whether the files which are present in it are added to the repository folder or not. You can see it was in red color. That means these are not committed, these are not included, these are untracked files. I want to track all these files for Git. So for that, Git add command is there, -a. So by using this command, you can add it. Now you can check the status, whether all these files are added. Yes. You can see these changes are committed now. You can commit the changes by using git commit command. Now I'm committing this git commit. I'm committing a message, that is a version 1. Since this is a app version 1, I'm just providing the same name. Now I'm clicking on enter. You can see that was committed. Now you can able to push your data to your repository. Before pushing, I want to show you the repository. You can see it was still empty. I'm just reloading it. Under code commit, still it was reloading. Yeah, so still it was empty. Now I'm just clicking on enter here. That is, I'm just writing git push command to push my code to that repository. It was again asking me the username. So for that, I'm going to student and copying the username, pasting there. It was asking me the password. I'm again copying that, pasting here by using Ctrl+Shift+V command. You can see, yeah. So our data is pushed. So what are the files? Those all are pushed to this master branch. You can go and check that in this code commit. I'm just refreshing it so that the data will load to this code commit repository 1. You can see, so what are the data that we pushed, that data is visible here. Under which branch? Master branch, right? Yes. So we have performed one task. That is what? We stored or we pushed our data, application related data in this repo 1. So before pushing that, we even checked whether this app is working or not. We even tested our app. We even checked that our app is working or not by using our development server. So for that, we used one EC2 instance and we connected to that and we checked our app is running or not. So since our app is tested successfully and running successfully, we even verified by opening a website tab. So since that is working correctly, we just pushed that into the repository. So by using what we pushed, by using IAM, HTTP, Git credentials, we pushed our data by using commands to this code commit repository one that we created. So one task is done. That is we stored our data in code commit. Now let's say I want to test this data directly from this AWS services. So for that, do I have any servicer? Yes. So for that you have code. For that you have this code build. For that you have this code build. I'm just opening this code build. You can see under code build, I'm just creating a project in order to test this. So that's why I'm clicking on build projects. I want to create a project. So you can see on right side, top right corner, you can see an option that is a create project. Now I want to test this, compile, run, and test this code, this application code automatically by using this code build project. So for that, that's why I'm creating this code build project, app1 hyphen code build, or else app1 project build. So to identify this, I just named my project name like this. Then so at where my source code is present. Actually, it is present in code commit, right? Since we pushed our code to repo one in code commit and selecting code commit as my source and repo one as my source, and I want to provide the branch as the master branch. Since my data is pushed into this master branch, now I'm just moving it up. So this is what we provided in code build. What we provided project configurations like project name. Then we even specified where our actual code is present. Then we're moving on to environment. On top of what environment actually you are expecting to run your code. That means actually you are expecting to test the app present in this source. Actually, the app present in the source, you want to test it, right? Compile it, run it, test it, right? So on top of what environment you want to test. So that you need to specify here. I am just moving on with default provision model, that is on demand, and environment, that is managed image. And EC2 is sufficient for me currently for this. I'm choosing the Ubuntu as my operating system currently. And I want to use the existing role. So for this, I have previously created one role. I'm just using that. And this build spec file, this I have already show you by you in EC2 management console. Even after pushing that into my repo, that build spec file also moved into this repo. So that's why I'm expecting to move that build spec file from this source. From this source, I want to use that build spec file. So that's why I'm selecting this use build spec file. Then after, you can see artifacts, where you want to store your artifacts. So for deployment, you can use this, actually you use this artifact files. So currently I'm expecting to store in S3 bucket. So in this code build artifacts bucket, I'm actually storing those artifacts. So for that, I'm providing the name, that is a artifact.zip file. I want to store my files, artifact files, that is a result from testing. Those will be generated, these artifact files will be generated. I'm storing these artifact files as a zip files so that I can able to use them further in next step, that is in code deploy. I can use these artifact files in order to deploy my code. application code in real-time environment. And I'm specifying this package as zip files. So that's it. I'm just moving on with the default logging, and at last I have an option to create the code build project. So if I create there, then if I click there, then my code build project will be created. So before that, I want to recap this things, whatever the things that we provided. We just provided our project details, that is a project name, and source related details, that is in which source, in which repository, in which branch actually our code is present. And we also specified this BuildSpec file, that is use the BuildSpec file from this source, whatever I specified. And on top of what environment we are expecting to run test our code, so that we specifying here, that is on demand I want. And I want images to be managed images, that is easy to compute I'm using, and Ubuntu operating system I'm using. So that's it. I want to store my artifacts in a S3 bucket, one bucket. This is I've already created for you previously to store these artifact files. Now I provided this name to store my artifact files. At last, it also have log groups in order to monitor your results. And I'm just clicking on code, create a build project. I hope I got some error. You're not authorized to perform this. Creating IAM role. So where we actually created, yeah, you can see I have previously provided the existing role. So that's what I'm providing again. I'm just clicking on create build project. You can see our project created successfully. Our project created successfully. So by using this project, you actually run test your code. In AWS, you actually test your code by using this build project. So for this, you provided details regarding this project is visible here, and project details will be visible here under this project details tab. So this batch history will provide you how many times you run this project, and this build history will provide you how many times you build this project, you started this build project. And build triggers are visible here, and you can see the CloudWatch metrics are also available here. Now I'm expecting to build, I want to start this project since I have my code in that code commit repository. I want to build this project. So for that, I'm just clicking on start build so that this project got builded. You can see this was a build started. The status is in progress. So currently it was running. You can see even the logs are visible here. The last 5,000 lines of build logs are visible here. We have even tested this by using our development environment, but in real time in AWS, you can even test it by using this build command, that is a code build. By providing the details like this, you can see I got the response like this. So it was running. So status is in still progress. I'm getting the logs, right? Yes. So I'm getting the logs. It was running. Let's wait whether it was successfully tested or not. You can see npm test command is run successfully. And you can see at last artifact files are generated, and those are also uploaded in my S3 bucket. You can see successfully uploaded our artifact files. If you want, you can even go to that particular S3 location, and you can verify those artifact files. In build details, I have the details regarding my artifact files. So in this location, actually my artifact file is there. I'm just clicking on opening it so that it actually redirect to my S3 bucket. Under the particular bucket that I specified, in this my artifact file is created successfully. I use these artifact files in order to deploy my code. So now we have done second step as well. That is, we created a code build project, And we even tested our project, and we even tested the code which is present in this source, that is code commit repository. Code commit repository, that is a repo 1, right? Yes. So we have even seen the details regarding that in real time. In real time, what you did is you simply create. So, but now what you did, you actually tested, that is you actually tested and created your artifact files by using this code build, right? Yes. In real time, by using code pipeline, you can automate this process. By using code pipeline, you can automate the process of taking the data, or you using the code commit as a storage, and you can use this code build as a testing to generate the artifact files, and you can further use those artifact files in the code deploy session. So for that, I'm just opening the code pipeline to show you how to automate the processes, that is up till now, the source process as well as this build project process. So how to automate these two processes, I want to show you those two things now. So basically you create two stages actually. So by using those two stages, whenever if you run once this code pipeline, then your code building as well as testing both will be run that is simultaneously, one after another. So for that, you first need to create a pipeline. I'm just clicking on create a pipeline. So here you need to choose the pipeline settings like a pipeline and name, automation, or you can say CI/CD pipeline 1 for my app. And now you can see execution modes. So how you want to execute your pipeline. So that you need to specify here. If you want to execute your pipeline parallelly, that is a, if you want to run all the process parallelly, then you can choose this parallel execution, or you want to run queued based, that is a one query will be executed once, then another query will be executed till then. If you got many queries, all the other queries will be queued. Or else if you got multiple queries at a time, then whatever the last comes, whatever the latest, that will be executed, and other will be overlapped that you want, then you can choose this. Currently I want to use this queued pipeline. Next I'm choosing the existing service role to do this or to execute this task. At last you have this variable session. So currently in my project I'm not using any variable, so that's why I'm not specifying this. So here in this way you can choose your pipeline settings. The next step is add source based stage, add source stage. So for that I'm just clicking on next. So what is this source stage? So here you need to specify that where your code is actually present. So that source you need to specify here in code commit, right? I actually stored my code in one repository, that is the repo 1. So that's why I'm selecting this repo 1, and I'm specifying the branch as master since my code is present in this master only. And how you want to detect changes. So currently I want to detect my changes by using this code pipeline. So that's why I'm selected this code pipeline and artifact files. So I want to choose this artifact file format, that is a code pipeline default format. Now I'm just clicking on next. Here you can specify the code build. Even it's an optional, but now I'm providing the code build, that is whatever the code build that we created now. That project is this app1 project code build. So by using that project code build project, actually your code will be tested. So whatever the code that you provided in this source stage, that will be tested by using this project. Now I'm just clicking on next. Now we actually came to this deploy stage. So don't worry, I'll show you how to add this deploy stage. After creating this code pipeline also, you can able to deploy this So that's why in order to show you deploying after creating this code pipeline, I'm just skipping this deploy session. Now at last we are under this review session. So here we just review the pipeline settings and whatever the source that we provided and what are the build project that we provided in the build stage. And now we just creating this code pipeline. So in this we just provided the source stage and build stage. So that's why it having both the two stages, source stage and as well as this build stage. Now I'm just clicking on this release changes. If you click on this release changes, then actually these two processes will be run. That is this code pipeline will be executed. So first your source will be checked, then your build will be run successfully. That is by using this code build, actually your code will be tested and you got the results whether it was successful or not. So it was a queued execution. You can even see the status here on right side. So first one is run successfully source and build was in process. So that even visible here in process. You can see in process is visible here. If you see this source, it was a succeeded. That means it was completed. So that's why it is visible like succeeded. Even the particular logs even visible under this view detail section. If you click on it, so input as well as output summary related to this will be visible here. Now actually this code build is in process. So after testing, what you actually do, you will actually deploy your code, right? Yes. So deploy your code and you can provide the URL to your clients. After deploying your code, after developing your website, you will provide your URL to your clients, right? Yes. So in order to deploy your code, you need servers, right? Yes. So previously while explaining EC2, while testing EC2, so in that moment only I have told you that we are using those two instances. So I'm opening and showing you that. So we are using two EC2 instances for our deployment. You can see this CA app ASG and the CA app ASG. These two I'm using for deployment process. So how I'm using is by using particular auto scaling group. You can see here auto scaling group option is there under my EC2 dashboard. So there I created one auto scaling group. In this auto scaling group, I actually specified some launch configurations and I provided my two instances. So those you can see under instance management. You can see I added these two instances, right? Yeah. So you can see those two EC2 instances are healthy. So for deployment, I'm using this particular auto scaling group. If I use this auto scaling group, then my request will be routed to those two EC2 instances, right? Yes. So now I'm moving back to CI/CD pipeline, that is a code pipeline. Here you can see this build stage was even successful. You can see the logs by clicking here. You can see the logs are there. In this code build, it will generate the artifact files and successfully uploaded in the destination folder where we specified. You can see the output as well, build artifact files where it was stored. If you click on it, so that your artifact files will be opened inside the S3 bucket. You can see by using the unique name, your artifact files will be created and stored here in your S3 bucket. Now I'm just closing it. Now by using this code pipeline, I want to deploy my code as well. So we just provided the source and we just builded our source. We just builded, that is a tested our code. Now I want to deploy my code by using this code pipeline. Now to deploy our code, we need to create an application in this code deploy. In this code deploy, we actually need to create an application. On top of that application, we actually use this auto scaling group that we actually previously created for you for this lab. So on top of this auto scaling group, I actually provided the two EC2 instances that I want to use for my production environment. So for that, first we need to create an application to deploy our source code, which is present in this code commit. That is a tested source code that I want to deploy, right? So for that, I'm creating one code deploy application. So for that, you have under code pipeline, this is a deploy, code deploy. Under this code deploy, you have option that is applications. I'm just clicking on it. I'm expecting to create one application there, and I want to deploy that application there, and I want to include that stage in code pipeline as well. So first, let us create an application. So that's why I'm clicking on create application, and I want to provide the name of this application as application one of this is what this is code deploy, right? Yeah. So application one of this code deploy. Yeah. So code deploy. Now I want to provide the compute platform. What is my compute platform? EC2 instances, right? Yes. So there I already shown you the servers, right? So that's why I'm using this EC2 on premises. I'm just clicking on create application. So in this application, we need to specify the deployment group. So on top of which deployment group you want to deploy. So previously we just created an application. In this application, we need to specify the deployment group. So on top of what deployment group actually you want to create. So now I just creating the deployment group as deploy group 1, and the service role that I'm providing in order to deploy, it will access, right? It will first need to access those servers, right? Yes. So for that, we need to create a role that I have previously created, and now I just provided it. And deployment type, you want a blue-green deployment, then select this, or you want in-place deployment, then select this. I want in-place deployment, so that's why I selected this as my deployment type. And environment configuration. On top of EC2 auto scaling group, I have my environment is there, so that's why I'm selecting this. And I want to select this because this is what the auto scaling group that I created to use as a deployment environment for this lab. Now I'm just moving it up. I'm moving on with the default deployment settings, that is a deploy default all at once, and I'm enabling this load balancing, or else load balancing type I am providing this as a auto scale ALP application load balancing type. This load balancer also I have created previously for this lab. I'm just clicking on create deploy. So here we just provided few things, that is application. What is the application auto scaling group, and we just provided what is the load balancer this application is using. That's it. So we just created our deployment application. In this deployment application, we already created one deployment group. You want to create a deployment, then click on this create a deploy, so that your application will be deployed. So first you need to select the deployment that you want, then deploy it. So currently I want to deploy it by using a code pipeline. So that's why I'm just discarding this. So to deploy by using a code pipeline, I'm opening this code pipeline. So previously I have created one code pipeline. So that I want to open. You can see that code pipeline is available here. So previously it has two stages. That is, one is a source stage, one is a build stage. So that's it. It does not have another stages. Now I'm expecting to to add one more stage to deploy this. So for that's why I'm just editing this. At last I want to add a stage, so that's why I'm clicking on add. Here I'm adding a stage, that is a deploy stage, so that's why I'm specifying this as a deploy. Then I want to add a action group, so you need to specify the action group name. Since this is a deploy group, I'm specifying the name as deploy group, and action provider, who will provide the action, where the deployment happens. Actually my deployment happens at code deploy, so that's why I'm using this code deploy. And we also need to specify the input artifact files. So from where I'm getting the input artifact files? I'm getting the input artifact files from this build artifact. So from code build, I'm getting this build artifact files that I'm using for deployment. So that's why I choose this. So on top of what application you want to deploy, so that you can select here. Since I've created this application, I'm selecting this. On top of which deployment group you want to deploy, so that also you need to select. So that's it. You selected the deployment group related configuration, deployment stage related configurations. I'm just clicking on done. So you can see the deployment group related configurations are also available here. Now I'm just saving this. So now previously we created the code deploy environment, application environment. Now we actually added that stage our code pipeline to our code pipeline. So I want to release these changes, that is I want to release this, that is I want to deploy my code. So that's why I'm clicking on this release. I also reconfirmed. You can see successfully code pipeline saved. Now you can see it was in progress, so that's why it is in a white. You can see it was in blue, so that's why it is a succeeded. This stage was succeeded. Now you can see whatever the progress stage that was in blue color, succeeded stage is in green color, and not didn't run stage is in white color. You can even see the execution. You can even see the running status in right side, that is a finished stage in a green color, whereas in progress stage is in blue color, and didn't run stage is in a gray color, white, that is a light white or gray. You can see currently it is running in progress. So after this code pipeline, all stages got completed, actually our code was deployed. So in this way, you can automate the process of code testing by using this code build, and you can automate the process of deployment by using this code deploy. You can deploy actually by using this code deploy, and you can build by using this code build. You can build artifact files by using this code build. By testing your source code, you can store your source code in this code commit. So you can automate whole process. You can automate this storing, building, deploying this whole process at a time by using what service? This code pipeline. In this code pipeline, you created a pipeline. In this pipeline, you created 3 stages. So first stage, source you provided. Second stage, you provided the build, where this source will provide the application source to this build, where this build will test the application code, and then it will generate the artifact file results. And those build artifact results will be taken by using this deploy, and then by using this code deploy, actually your code will be deployed on top of auto scaling group instances. And by using the load balancer that you specified in this deploy, you can use it to see the website, right? Yes. So you can see this build was also successful. If you see the details of it, the artifact files will be generated at output in logs. You can even see at last artifact files will be generated and uploaded successfully. Now I'm just clicking on done. So those artifact files will be stored in a S3 bucket. You can even click here and open those artifact files. You can see them in S3 bucket. with a unique name. They are created and stored. I'm just closing it. I'm just closing this as well. So you can see this deployment was running. That is actually your application that you provided in this code commit, that was deploying on top of your servers that you provided in this deploy. So now it is in progress. Automatically it was deploying by using what? This code pipeline. This process was this building process as well as this deployment process will be automatically taken by using this code pipeline. Now it was in progress. Let us wait till it was completed. Then after that, we will check whether our application was deployed successfully or not by using the load balancer, application load balancer. So by using that application load balancer, we will see whether we are getting the response or not. I'm just opening that EC2 instances, that is a EC2 dashboard, and you can see that load balancers. I'm opening this load balancer and I want to copy the DNS name. I just copied this DNS name. Now I'm opening this code pipeline. It was deploying still. I'm opening one web browser. I'm pasting the website that is a load balancer DNS here. So currently 503, that is a server temporarily unavailable. After deployment, let us see whether it was deployed successfully or not. Now you can see after taking some time, a code was deployed. A code was even deployed successfully. Now I'm opening this website and I'm just reloading this. You can see accumulator. So our load balancer, that is this is the URL of our load balancer that we just copied previously. So that is working successfully. If you write some message here, that is a Spark, and click on add, so that will be added. I'm just providing a B space Spark. You can see that also added. So like this, your accumulation, that is your app is working successfully. So now, so in this way, you can actually implement this AWS code pipeline. You can even see the results by clicking this view results, and execution details you can see by clicking here. You can see the detailed visualization of so till where the process is happened. Here in this section, you can see the deployment status is available here, and deployment details and revision details, deployment lifecycle events also you can see here. So these all details available under this deployments section if you choose. I'm just moving back. So I'm just clicking on you can see the input session is there and output session is also there. So I'm clicking on done. So we have done successfully. We have done this end-to-end project that is creating code pipeline. We are created a code pipeline successfully. So in this code pipeline, we added 3 stages, that is a source stage, build stage, and deploy stage. In source stage, actually we're using this code build repository. So there we actually stored our code. And to test that code, we use this code build. In this code build, we actually tested our code and generated our artifact files. So those artifact files we are producing as results from this code build, and we're providing them as input to this code deploy. In this code deploy, actually we are hosting or deploying our website. So we are automating this whole process, that is this building, that is a testing, generating artifact files and deployment by using this AWS code pipeline. So, and we even tested that website by using the load balancer that we provided in this code deploy, and we opened that load balancing, we copied that DNS address of that load balancer and we pasted in new website, and we reloaded and we checked that is working or not. You can see that is working, right? Yes. So in this way, you can actually use this code pipeline in order to do this automation process of testing as well as a deployment. So I hope you understood this video and you got a knowledge on hands-on implementation regarding this code pipeline, that is a continuous integration and deployment by using this code pipeline. So let's say you uploaded or you updated the code in this code commit, then you can release the changes by clicking here. If you click here the release changes, again the updated application code will be taken as your source, and that will be built and tested, and it will generate the artifact files. Again, that was deployed on the destination auto scaling a group that you provided on top of the instances that will be deployed. And by using the same auto scaling, that is by using the same load balancer, you can even get the application and provide that application URL to your clients. So this is how you can simply design this building as well as a deployment automation by using this code pipeline. So I hope you understood this video. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you feel this video is helpful to you, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. These are development related tools. These are development related automation. So if you are a developer or AWS enthusiastic, then this video is highly helpful to you. This code pipeline is really helpful to you in real time. So must practice it in real time by taking some sample application code. So I hope this video is understanding to you. If you feel this video is useful, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thanks for watching again. See you back in the next video with another interesting topic. Until then, bye bye guys.